Yeah, yeah. 2, 3. Solo D. DWA, we gonna do it like this. Look. Get back to the season, yeah, it's time for 2-3. Miami sportsman on fire, kicking ass like Bruce Lee. Tua hit the weight room and got his tribe on his sleeve. Got some goals on his list that he gotta achieve. Matt D with the schemes, he supplying the dream. Rollin' Vic for defense, we bout to hunt for the ring. Buffet boys hit squad, we ain't thinking about Rodgers. Only Hall of Famer we acknowledge this year's Thomas.
What an unreal play by Zach Thomas.
Legendary at the crib, what we do is historic. Ain't won a ring in 50 years, but not one season been born. We been steady building up, they been sleeping and snoring. We been repping for that aqua, plus that green and the orange. 305 South Florida, we the reason it's storming. Since we picked up Tyreek, why should our speed been important? Waddle pass, they ain't gon' dance like a penguin when scoring. Running backs, run it back, O-line don't want no sacks. They reload in beast mode to protect the quarterback. CBS recorded that, in the world syndicated. Put the league on notice, now they all intimidated. Took some L's from injuries, but now them boys rejuvenated. When they lining up against you, running through you, you gon' hate it. All the fans gon' debate it. Compare and contrast, the same conversation on a different podcast. I'm a Dolphin fan for life. 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 I'm a Dolphin fan for life.
So low, so low, so low, deep. So low, so low, so low, deep. DWA, that's Dolphins with attitude. MSM, that's Miami Sports Music. Make sure you subscribe.
This is a Miami Sports Music Podcast Network production. This is the #1 Miami fan morning show. Clock blockers, let's go.
I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go.
What up, baby?
This just a welcome, bro.
Miami Sports Music Podcast Network, the #1 Miami fan morning show. Clock blockers, right here on the MSM Podcast Network. Good morning to my family, to my Finlaws. What is going on? This show presented by Tailgreeter. Download the app today. I'm your host, Stephen Daniels. You can follow me on all social media at Stephen D. SKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. It's a big deal. Or X, whatever it's called. Follow Miami Sports Music everywhere at Miami Sports Music, except on X or Twitter at MIA Sports Music. On your way in this morning, make sure you hit the like button. It's free. It doesn't cost anything to hit the like button, and it helps. Also, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. Make sure you subscribe, okay? And when you do subscribe, hit the bell notification. That way you get notified anytime Miami Sports Music goes live or Solo D drops a new album or track or whatever it is, you will get notified. So make sure you guys are hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel. They're both free. They don't cost a thing, okay? Also, hey, look, if you want to, I don't know what's going on there. Okay. All right. Love it. Love when stuff starts to work incorrectly. So I just have to move some things around. There you go. Sign up today to become a member of the channel. There are plenty of seats waiting at the table for you. In the description below, you'll see membership. click the link where it says membership to sign up to become a member. We got members in the chat right now: Mark Newman, Corey Walker, Shake Money, Flipside Fishing. Shout out to all you guys. Thank you for being members of the channel. You guys are the best. Lamar Bennett, Flavor J, the bad guy. Come on now, sign up to become a member today. There are plenty of seats waiting for you. We have 3 different tiers. So if you're able to, I'd love to see new members sign up to become members of the channel today. If you want to help the channel grow by donating, a couple different ways you can do it. You can use the YouTube live super chat, which is the $ below the bottom of the chat, or you can also use Cash App or PayPal, which is $ MSM Podcast Network or MSM Podcast Network. All right. Want to give a big shout out to our sponsors of the show, ZSM Sports, the #1 place to get your cards, jerseys, balls, and hard to find items. ZSM Sports. Lime, less is more events. Lime Tickets, the #1 place to get tickets anywhere across the country. If you guys want to get tickets, visit Less is More Events or Lime Tickets on Twitter or X. And last but certainly not least, Tailgreeter. Download the app today on your current Crapple or Apple or Android devices. Just make sure you guys do it today. All right, we got a few things that we're going to go over today. It is Spread Kindness Friday, which means I have a co-host. I'll bring him on here in a minute. We got the Miami Dolphins season outlook. We're going to, look upon to the season. We're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins roster wrap-up. We're going to do seasonal award predictions and Dolphins Q&A with Jason Sarney. All right. All right. So let me bring on my co-host to this greatest show that we have on during the week. Well, some people think Wildin' Out Wednesday. I think it's Spread Kindness Friday, but I do love this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jason Sarney.
Good morning. Happy Friday, Steven and Finn fans. And if you're not a Finn fan, still happy Friday.
No, your dogs are going crazy in the background too. They're going insane.
Big fan. He's a
they
big
were like,
fan.
"Oh my God, Jason's on live now. Let's go."
He loves you, Steven. He loves you. We all love you in this house, but your biggest fan is Ollie. Ollie is a huge fan.
That sounds about right. Okay. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Busy week.
Crazy week, right?
Fun week. Good week. Great week for you, man. You were rocking and rolling. So I know you had some amazing shows. You had some great guests and really an enjoyable roller coaster of a week for us Dolphin fans. But really
what was the highlight of the week for you? Because there's some people that don't know. You got a particular tweet from a former Miami Dolphin saying that you were his favorite Dolphin. He's not a Dolphin anymore, though. You don't hold it against him.
I had a nice week. I'm going to say I had a nice week, but I don't want to get emotional here. But I'm just kidding. Yeah. My guy from last year. Everyone loves. I'm a big special teams guy. A lot of my special teams tweets have a serious note with a funny, sarcastic undertone. So with that said, yes, the greatest player on the New York Jets is Thomas Morstead. He's the only Jet I could tolerate. And last year, we had a little bit of a fun friendship. He enjoyed my analysis of his holding the ball in differentiation than most other holders. And he happened to have, complimented me on that particular thing and then said I was his favorite Dolphin fan. So tears aside, I pulled through and I was able to say, thank you, Thomas. You made my week. So that was a fun thing.
Dude, it was kind of funny. So I was sitting here over, the week and I get on Twitter usually at the end of the day if something happens. And all of a sudden I look up and I'm scrolling through Twitter and I see this and I'm like, what is this? You're my favorite Dolphins fan. I was like, is that really Thomas Morstead? Is that what just happened? So I thought it was cool. I saw the little back and forth that you guys had. And it was pretty dope, man. So that was awesome. Look, for me, Tuesday was insane. I wish Jonathan Taylor had have come, but it was awesome. We had 873 viewers, I think, at our peak, and we were averaging like 600 most of the day, 500, 600 most of the day.
And what's good about that, Steven, is that right after the news kind of didn't go all the Dolphins' ways, we were able to safely say that we retained a good 79% of the audience, and the rest of those cult fans just got out.
They got up.
We retained a real good amount.
For like an hour after that, there was still like 600 people, like an hour after the show. So it was awesome, man. I enjoyed it. I wish we had got Jonathan Taylor, but I'm also not mad at kind of how the roster looked. You know, Cameron was on yesterday, and we kind of did a full roster breakdown a little bit, and we'll do a little bit of one today with you just to get your analysis or your thoughts about it. But, you know, for me, I'm excited for the season. I'm ready for week 1. And, you know, there are some things on the roster that I would like to see be different. But I think that as we move forward into this year, I think they still have a chance to do that, especially with the $11 million in cap space that they have and potential people that they might be able to bring through the door. But let me ask you, man. First things first. What was the biggest surprise to you from the 53-man roster? Biggest surprise. Don't think too hard.
No, I'm thinking, all right, I want to answer this properly. Nothing shocked me. And I don't mean to sound like, I mean, in terms of shock or the biggest surprise, I was surprised that they traded Noah. I'm pleasantly surprised that they traded Noah.
I couldn't. Yeah, let me say that. So that was the best part of Tuesday. It wasn't the 873 viewers. It was the fact that Noah Igbinoghene got traded, and I loved every second of it.
Dude, you got to do a horn, Steven. Every time I hear Igbinoghene, yeah!
I couldn't believe that Chris Greer found a sucker to take Noah. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. Now, is Kelvin Joseph any better? I don't know. Don't care, really. It'd be a lot easier to get rid of Kelvin Joseph than it's going to be get rid of Noah Igbinoghene if Kelvin doesn't work out. So I was very surprised that we found somebody to take on just him. Period. Was just very surprised. So yeah, that was cool. I enjoyed Tuesday and I said, look, if the Jonathan Taylor trade does go down, it's still going to be the second best trade of the day because we found somebody to take Noah.
I have my answer. My answer is probably the same thing that it's going to have to be the Elijah Higgins and Ryan. Let's put that in combination. That was surprising to me, but then there's kind of a silver lining to it. So was it surprising that in the whole way it played out, a 6th and 7th round draft pick by Chris Greer, who stubbornly likes to keep people around when he drafts them, let them go. They were immediately rostered onto a 53 by other teams, which basically says that they were good picks. They're good picks because they're rosterable 53, not draft picks. They're picked up to the 53. They became Zach Sealers, but early Zach Sealers, because Zach Sealer wasn't like an early pickup after the Ravens got rid of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they rostered him to the 53. Indianapolis, Ryan Hayes. Arizona, Elijah Higgins. And the Dolphins turned around and they rostered Julian Hill, tight end, who everyone's loving. So that's not surprising that Julian Hill, was rostered. To me, what's surprising is that Elijah Higgins and Ryan Hayes were dropped, scooped, and Chris Greer didn't seem to care. He just got up, dusted himself off, and said, I got Julian Hill. We couldn't find a good scheme fit within our scheme for Ryan. Maybe we'll hope that he slides through the waivers. He didn't. So there's my surprise.
For me, Elijah Higgins was very, I didn't think Ryan Hayes was going to make the team. I thought he was going to be on the practice squad. I thought he would have been very fine clearing waivers to go to the practice squad. So I was very surprised that the Colts took the waiver on him. Although I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again, I think Jim Harbaugh had something to do with that because I think he has a relationship with the Indianapolis Colts. And I think he said, hey, man, this kid Ryan Hayes, you guys are looking for O-linemen.
Yeah.
He's been released by the Dolphins. I think there's something there because
it's a good point.
And look, that's just a theory. I don't know anything about that, but to me, that's the only thing that makes even remotely.
You shared a hot dog with Harbaugh at a ballpark. I mean, who knows what you know?
Me and Crypto did, man. Me and Crypto did. We sat and we got to talk to Harbaugh for like 5 minutes, and he was even trying to tell us, man, this kid Ryan Hayes, he's something. You're gonna like him. He was trying to tell me in crypto that he was going to be this great offensive lineman. And we were like, hold up, man, this guy's 7th round pick. I don't know how great he's going to be. But he got the Indianapolis Colts to take a flyer on him on the 53. So we'll see. But I definitely thought he was going to be somebody that was going to clear waivers. Now, Higgins, I was surprised about. Last year, the Miami Dolphins broke camp with 5 tight ends and 5 running backs. This year, they broke camp with 2 tight ends and 4 running backs, not including Alec Ingold. So big difference from last year to this year. As a matter of fact, there are less players on the offensive side of the ball this year than there are on the defensive side. Usually it's about 50-50, but I think there's about 3 or 4 more players on the defensive side this year than there are on the offensive side. There's 6 wide receivers, there's 3 tight ends, and there's 4 running backs, not including Ingold. Last year there was 5 wide receivers, 5 tight ends, 5 running backs. So, you know, I am very, very surprised by some of these selections for the Miami Dolphins this year. Very surprised by it.
Let me go back to Higgins for a second, because I think it actually builds into the overall roster structure. Higgins was a collegiate wide receiver whom the Dolphins wanted to say, you know what? I like what this kid may be able to do. So, is he a tight end on the Cardinals? My guess is not. He was the most waiver claimed player. If that's a fact that anyone doesn't know already, that's a cited fact on someone from Twitter. I can't say it. It's not mine. I saw it. Elijah Higgins was the most claimed player. Clearly, I think if you play the numbers, there's more wide receivers.
He was the most claimed player.
As per a tweet I saw, I hope I read it correctly. Someone, if they want to bring up the tweet.
Nobody put in more waiver claims for a player than Elijah Higgins?
I believe, if I'm correct from a tweet that I read from someone today, not something that I back researched myself. This is not my initial statistic, but I believe that the most waiver claimed dropped rookie player or player as a whole was Elijah Higgins, which tells me he's being looked at back to his original wide receiver position, because you're having rooms of 5.
He went to Houston, right?
No, Arizona.
So
this is also a team that's probably gonna tank.
No, probably they're
gonna tank,
bro.
You know,
probably they are 100% tanking. But that's a good place for Elijah Higgins, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's going to be a place where he's going to get snaps. He's going to get an opportunity to get the football, and if he's any sort of good at all, we're going to see, you know, somewhat flashes of it in Arizona, because who's playing there besides Kyler Murray right now? Nobody is.
Oh, for now.
Exactly. For now, Kyler could even be gone by the trade deadline. If someone's quarterback gets hurt, Kyler could 100% be called up by somebody.
As for Higgins, you know, he could be easily rostered there as a wide receiver or other people. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be tight end at the moment, but like they could wide receiver him up if that's where they vision him. That's what I think other teams maybe have.
Now, let me tell you something, Jason. Here's another thing that did surprise me. The Dolphins, and I didn't talk about this yesterday, the Dolphins put in 0 waiver claims for anybody. They didn't put in any waiver claims at all for anybody.
You know what that tells me?
What does that tell you? Because I have to admit I was very perplexed by this, because I'm like, hold up. You have 2 at that time, they only had 2 tight ends. And I was like, what is going on? No waiver claims at all?
Conviction in your guys that you have that you know are going to go through the process, because everyone that you want to go through these waivers that are your own, your Bethels, your Crofts, you know, these are guys that came back. You know, you're going to lose some people like Hayes, like Higgins, and then you can bring other people back and in, but no significant waiver claims, I think, means just conviction of the guys that Greer has, and no one out there is going to dethrone one of the guys that he already had in his 53. So to me, that's conviction in the fact that Chris Johnson just said they like their guys. You ever see Rounders? I llove Rounders, and then that guy in the Binghamton game. Well, I like what I have. I mean,
Pay that man his money.
Right, but like sometimes someone holding the cards will be like, I don't have any work to do. I like what I have.
I love John Malkovich, by the way. John Malkovich is my favorite. And by the way, I live here north of Baltimore at least for another 14 days. And we had Buck Showalter here for the Orioles, and the saying was for him, I like our guys. So for like 6 years, that's all we heard. I like our guys. I like our guys. Here's what I know, Jason. Chris Greer is definitely in love with some of these players on this roster.
Oh, yeah.
But there was quality players that were cut from NFL teams that, in my opinion, and who the hell am I, were clearly better than some of the players at the end of this roster right now. So to put in no waiver claims, I don't care that you didn't get anybody. I care that you didn't even bother to put in a waiver. You didn't think there was one player that was cut that you would have wanted on your roster. Come on, guys. Let's be honest here. Our offensive line room at the end of it, questionable at best, right? Our tight end room, 2, 3.
But remember this, Steven, remember this. You're not shopping in the Miracle Mile here. You're shopping on a scrap heap.
No, I get it. I understand that.
So think of what we're dealing with. They like their scrap heap.
To bring in all the secondary people that we brought in within 10 days at the end of training camp. The last 2 weeks of training camp, we brought in like 4 or 5 people in the secondary, Jason.
Yeah, no, I'm aware, but I also know that I know there's reserves coming back. Like I know that.
Well, here's the other problem with it too. We put 4 people on the IR.
Mm-hmm.
And that means we're not going to be able to see them for a minimum of 4 weeks. Although 2 of them we won't be able to see throughout the season unless there's some weird settlement with an injury settlement. So there's like one scenario for Keon Crossan and I can't think of the other guy's name who went onto the IR for the season. Before the trade deadline, but there was an
undrafted guy.
Yeah. Vandenberg was also there too, so he makes 3. But there was one more. But whoever it is, if there's an injury settlement, there's like a scenario where they can clear waivers and then still come back this year if they do an injury settlement with the Dolphins. But that's like a unique scenario that's only ever happened like once in the last couple of years, once or twice in the NFL. So.
Hold on one quick second. There's something I forgot, and I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm like, my right eye is reading the chat, but there was a stat that I stumbled upon yesterday that was remarkable to me. Chris Johnson, I don't want to call you out, but I want to answer this. Steven, who was the 3rd leading targeted receiver last year for the Miami Dolphins? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. Mike, he doesn't throw to tight ends a lot, but believe it or not, they had no one else to throw to last year as the 3rd wide receiver. The 3rd leading target was Gesicki. The 5th leading target was running back, 6th running back, 7th Alex Ingold, 8th tight end. So this year, they have a 3rd wide receiver and Berrios 4th wide receiver. Hopefully, they might be throwing to wide receivers more. But last year's target distribution was wild.
Yeah, it was 100%. By the way, which was all the more reason I wanted like Dalvin Cook or Jonathan Taylor, because I know those guys out of the backfield can catch balls and be a weapon, be weapons for them. Now, anyways, with all that being said, they put 4 guys on IR after the 53-man cut, which means that they're eligible to come back. Robert Jones, Jalen Ramsey. Who are the other 2? I can't think of the other 2 off the top of my head. You're on mute.
Nick Needham.
Nick Needham
is out for a minimum of 4. He's one of those minimum of 4.
And then there's one more. I can't think of it. But anyways, with all those guys being said, I go back to my original statement. Like, is Greer so in love with our players, and even Keon Crossan? Keon Crossan's out for the year. He was put on the IR before the 53-man cut.
He had a freak injury.
Yeah, he was put on the IR before the 53. If you were put on the IR after the 53, you're eligible to come off week 4, after week 4. If you were put on the IR before the 53, you're out for the year. You're done. Unless there's an injury settlement. There's like a weird thing. This roster, looking at it from top to bottom, Jason, if I had to give a grade scale to it, I'm giving it a B. I like it, and it's very top heavy, but I'm not in love with it in certain aspects. I'm not in love with the depth at the O-line. I'm not in love with the tight ends. I'm not in love, with I like our running backs. I like our guys. I'm not in love with them. Look, here's a reality to the situation. Mozart, and I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here this morning. That's all. I'm Mr. Hopium. I think we have a great roster. I think it's a B. I think a B is a good thing. I think you can win a Super Bowl with a B as long as everybody stays healthy. But we get 1 or 2 more injuries in certain areas, Jason, it could be a rough season very quickly. Mozart doesn't stay healthy for a whole year. A-Chain's already been hurt once. Chris Brooks is a undrafted rookie free agent. Jeff Wilson, that's the other guy. That's the other guy who's hurt. Jeff Wilson is out for 4 weeks. What does this run? And then don't get me started on the secondary, who we've already had multiple injuries, and we were depleted last year. So I was very surprised there were no waiver claims. I was very surprised at some of the moves that Greer made. And ultimately, I just want more insurance. That's what I want, Jason. I want more insurance because as a fan, I'm holding my breath.
Well, let me sell you some insurance. They have insurance. They have insurance in the form of people that are outside of the 53, and the number one is an offensive lineman insurer. Now, let me expand on that. I believe, if I'm going to throw out a long-term prediction and who is signed, not signed, they are future planned, not future planned, I don't think our current center is in the long-term plan.
Connor Williams is not, and he shouldn't be.
Having said that, I have no problem with the way Connor Williams played center last year. Didn't love the holdout. Now, he came back in a hot minute after the holdout. It was basically a no out. It was I'm holding out. My bad. I'm back. So high snap issues here or there.
1 or 2 every game, Jason. 1 or 2 every game.
Let me tell you something, Steven. Last year I was on the why the hell did you move him to center campaign. I liked Michael Dieter to listen, bury me whatever the hell you want.
Isn't Dieter starting in Houston or wherever he's at?
Yes, I wanted Dieter to play center, and he could have. He played a number of games at center a couple of years back for the Dolphins. Okay, he's in Houston. He did okay. But I was like, wow, we signed Connor Williams, who played great in left guard for Dallas. This is center? So it was almost like that, John C. Reilly gif where he's like, huh? But he played great minus the high snaps. Now, do they have a purebred center on the roster on the 53?
They do not currently.
Let me cook, man. I'm going to give it a little Polynesian
There's
spice.
No true center.
Yes, there is.
Who?
Alamo Luave. He's a stash, man.
On the practice squad.
Yeah, man, he's a stash.
He's a practice squad, which means
how easy it is to bring him up?
Which means any team can call him at any time and say, do you want to come up to our 53?
And then the Dolphins will drop someone and say, ain't having it. It's not, I'll guarantee you this. No, sorry. I messed around with percentages. I'm not doing that anymore.
But real quick,
is a high percent.
1 second. All right, Dean Brown, I appreciate you watching the show. And I'm not getting at you. I'm just getting at the statement that you wrote. If I hear again that Connor was a top 10 center last year, I'm going to lose my mind. The PFF that grades centers, they only take into account blocking and penalties. They do not take into account snap accuracy or bad snaps. They do not put that in to their grading scale, PFF. So last year, yes, Connor was the 4th best center in the NFL according to PFF. That is blocking and that is penalties. That has nothing to do with snap accuracy and that has nothing to do with bad snaps. So do not come up here and tell me that Connor's a great center, because he's not. He's a great pass blocker. He's a great run blocker, but he is not a good center. He's suspect at best. Should not be snapping a football. But we have nobody else. And those are facts. So don't come up here. And I'm telling you, the moment he has a bad snap, Dean, and somebody in our backfield gets hurt, God forbid, knock on wood, don't come crying to Steven. Don't come crying to Mr. Hopium, because I don't know if I'm going to have it for you for him.
It's a little harsh.
No,
it's a little harsh.
I am a little harsh because I'm sick of that statement.
It's a little harsh. 2 things were a little on the extreme. He's a good center. He has some high snap propensity. Has it ruined the play? No, other than that preseason play. Yes, that was horrific. The problem with this is that Tua is not a very heavy under the center snap receiver,
He's not
which amplifies the problem. Connor Williams, and I'm going to repeat this. Listen, I'm not on the he will be a Dolphin outside of this year train, but I'm on the he's not a bad center.
Cruz, there is no stat that does measure snap accuracy, unfortunately.
Here's the problem, too.
There is.
But here's the problem.
I think there should be. There isn't, though.
To Steven's point, receiving the amount of snaps that are not directly under the center makes this amplified, as I just mentioned. What also amplifies the problem is the timing importance of Tua and his throws. On a play where he needs to literally get it, RPO, throw it in a nanosecond, that ball needs to be put where it needs to be.
Every time. So last year, Tua Tagovailoa average snap was what, 2.1?
Dean, I'll send you my Venmo. That's how confident I am.
2 point what? 2.1, 2.3, I think at the most it was 2.6 seconds. But a bad snap, which, by the way, doesn't necessarily mean it's over the head and on the ground. It could just mean it's high up and our quarterback has to jump up to get it. It means that it's a low snap and he has to reach down to get it. 2.68, Andre said. So 2.68 seconds. A bad snap gives you 0.5 seconds minimum off the top. You're already behind the 8 ball. So that now, if you take 0.5 seconds, now that's going to give you 2.1 seconds to get the ball where it's supposed to be. Because here's what we all do know. Tua's a spot thrower. I don't have a problem with saying that. He is. The ball needs to be put into the direct spot where it needs to be at the direct time. But if I'm getting bad snaps, too low, too high, too to the whatever, I am now I am going against the bet that I made, which is what this offense is centered around, which is timing. Timing. Correct. Need to have better snaps.
Here's what I would love to maybe see. And this is if someone asked me, and I don't know if this was part of your questions later in the show or whatever, because we're going to do some like projecting. Yeah. But if I had a theory or a hope that I think could fix a potential offensive line issue, if a couple of things happen, here it is. If we need Isaiah Wynn at left guard, right, or someone at left guard, if it's not Wynn, to lock down that side, to create, when Teron Armstead is healthy, a left to center, really good situation instead of Swiss cheese, which we kind of have in certain spots, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If that's the case, number one, where either it's Wynn or the left guard is a hole, we have an all pro caliber left guard on the team, and that happens to be Connor Williams. Now, in this event, you throw an 8-ball, you throw a curveball, you throw a total kink in the armor, and that's you bring up Alamu Luave, you drop someone that you don't need. That's an easy task. And you roster a guy who, for all of his life, has been a purebred center, literally knows how to snap, probably could, as I like to say, snap the ball so accurately he could hit Ant-Man off of a soda can.
Now here, and side note, asterisk, side note, the moment he does have a bad snap, because every center has at least a bad snap or two during the year, it happens. I'm sure I will get, Steven, what about Uvalde's bad snap? One bad snap is nothing. One bad snap a game, now we have a problem. And that's what happens with minimum. He has at least 1 to 2 bad snaps every game. Doesn't mean that it's all over the head like it was in the preseason. It just means it's not an accurate snap. And I'm telling you, Connor has that all there.
Hey, I'll give you a fun example, too. It's like, I'm not going to eat a quarterback's lunch if he throws a pick all the way downfield for taking a shot. But if you're making the wrong reads and throwing pick sixes on slants continually, you're a problem. These things happen, but it's the severity of the problem. No, he's not an all-pro guard, no Valorian. He is that kind of a caliber. He is a Pro Bowl caliber. I might have misspoke with all-pro. I appreciate you mentioning that question. But he is an all-star caliber as per his contract for what he was signed at left guard.
Here's what I'll say. He is a all-pro caliber type guard.
That's exactly what I was getting at.
Call it Pro Bowl. I'm aware of. But I'm telling you right now, when you're the number 4 best center, according to PFF, it's because you can block at a all-pro level. And
I'll tell you,
he does block at all-pro level.
And he's a good player. He's a smart player who is a captain of that. He's a call guy. You know, he reads the audibles. He knows what the defense is doing, changing. So we have to give Connor credit where it's due, but we have to look at the issue, which is, it's exactly Nubalorian. He is a very quality guard. Okay? He's a very quality guard that he's proven for 4 years in Dallas.
That's not, all right, so PFF ranked him as 4. That's not an opinion. Those are facts. And what is that based on? Blocking, right? Blocking and penalties. So he had one of the least penalties around the league, and he was one of the best blockers in the NFL last year. Those are facts. And when you're number 4, that's all pro level.
What's
point blank.
Steven is correct, and what Valorian is saying, that's at center. Steven is naming the skills that linemen need to possess, and that's not a tackle, guard, center. That's a lineman. The Dolphins, at every single turn except for their purebred left tackle, have experimented or think that they can with, we drafted a left tackle.
The only reason he wasn't in Dallas is because of the pre-snap penalties, which I believe they've been dealt with here in Miami. Now, I could be wrong if he moves back to guard with that, but that's a chance I'm willing to take, my guy. He wasn't ranked in the top 10 at guard, according to PFF, because he had so many pre-snap penalties, which is taken into account in that algorithm for PFF. So I get it. I understand, but you have to look at semantics. You have to look at everything.
My man's throwing algorithm and semantics in the same argument. Keep cooking, bro.
It's I understand. What do you mean facts be damn noob? You're my boy, but what are you talking about? You're
Steven, you already turned someone. You're doing great.
I get it. No, I understand that he had pre-snap penalties in Dallas. I understand that was an issue for him at guard, which is probably why they wanted to move him to center, because they're like, how can a center get offsides? How can a center false start? All this stuff, right? Now, it happens, but it's less likely to happen for the center, right?
That's why they say everybody but the center.
That's fine. So the issue comes into play is what type of center are you? Well, our offense is based on our quarterback running it out of the shotgun. So when somebody comes up and says, well, just have Tua get under center. Well, you can't do that, especially when the snap the release of the football is 2.6 seconds because it's probably taken you a second and a half to drop back on a 5-step drop back or a 7-step drop back. So you can't really put him under center based on the offense that's designed the way McDaniel has it. So you have to put him in shotgun. So you need an accurate snapper at center, which, let's be honest, 8 out of 10 times, 7 out of 10 times he does. But it's that 1 or 2 that we're going down both games that we did. A matter of fact, I think every game he had a bad snap at center this year when he played in the preseason. I don't think he played in the first game, did he? He played in the second and the third one. I could be wrong that he didn't play in the first one, but either way, like if we're going down the field and he does a bad snap that goes over the head, and so now on a 1st and 10 from the 40, we're now at 1st and 39 in our deep in our own zone. Come on, bro. Like that's not something I'm willing to gamble on, especially when Tua tries to dive on the ball and I have a defensive lineman stepping on Tua or jumping on him. It doesn't matter if it's Tua or Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or whoever. You don't want your quarterback jumping on a loose football because every defensive player in the world's going to jump on top of them because that's what they're told to do. So there is a problem at center. Don't tell me there's not. Don't tell me that he's a top 5 center because the top 5 doesn't take into account snap accuracy.
I've never seen you so intense on it.
I understand why people want to get specific with me. And I get the debate, the back and forth. I get it. I understand it. But understand there are other things that go into it. And the center position, in my opinion, is probably, at least on this, it's usually on most offensive lines, the most important position on the O-line. And this one is the second as long as Teron Armstead's on the field. Now, with all that being said, if you got a true center to come in and really be good.
He's here.
You think it's Olave. He's not there yet. How about that?
Correct. The plan is, remember,
you could
these people
easily
think years ahead.
You could easily take Connor and say, you're going to guard. And so now you have Teron Armstead. You have Connor Williams, Uvalde, Isaiah Wynn.
No, that would be Robert Hunt in right guard.
Robert Hunt, Isaiah Wynn. Right? Am
I
wrong?
You'd have Austin Jackson.
Jackson. And now you got to use Isaiah Wynn as a starter.
Then he becomes
and then you have a quality starting offensive lineman who's at backup. Come on.
There we go.
Work with me, fans.
Is Olama Uluave ready to start week 1 in the NFL?
Dean Brown said, do you want a perfect snap center with bad blocking or the other way around?
But see, now Dean Brown, I'll answer this.
That shouldn't even be something that I have to choose from.
But let me read these words. Let me read the words. And Dean Brown, let me see if I read this correctly. Do you want a perfect snap center with bad blocking or the other way around? So my question to you, Dean, is are you insinuating that Olama Uluave is bad at blocking? Because I'd say go to the tape. Because he's not bad at blocking. He is a purebred center. I know he wasn't good enough to get drafted. I get that. The center is a basic one person on the line position. You have multiple guards. You have multiple tackles. Some teams you have one purebred center. So you know what? It's like a purebred baseball closer. If you got one of them, you just might happen to have one of them. Other people could do that job, but that's not their mindset. That's not their life. That's not what they went and got a college scholarship for or went to the combine for. This is what we have on our team.
Dean Brown.
He didn't answer the question,
and if you're in shotgun, 90% bad snaps are going to happen. I think what you mean to say is 10% of the snaps of the 100 are bad snaps, if that's what you're trying to say, which is a false statement all on its own as well. A good all-pro center. I don't have the numbers in front of me, I'm willing to go look it up after the show and do some research, and maybe Jason can help me do that research this weekend sometime. But
on Labor Day,
if I had to guess, if I was a betting man, an all-pro center maybe has 3 bad snaps a year. Maybe 3 bad snaps a year. And that's a maybe. So here's what I'm going to do, Dean Brown. I'm going to give Connor Williams 3 bad snaps this year.
Right.
I'm going to give him 3 bad snaps. I'm going to say, hey, you know what? There's 1. You know what? There's 2. You know what? There's 3. We get over 3, you are going to hear me moan, complain, pound on the table to Chris Greer. Because it should, your statement earlier to say, well, do you want a center who has good snaps but bad at blocking, or a center with bad blocking but's good at snaps? I shouldn't have to decide between the 2, Dean. I should be able to get both of them. You're telling me we're a Super Bowl contender? Give me a damn center that knows how to do both. If Uvalde's it, so be it. But he better be ready to go when we get into the season eventually. Because if he's not, I'm not hedging my bet that Connor's the guy to do it. I don't have faith in him. I don't. Don't have faith in the guy. Dean, you can't tell Tua to get under center in this offense. That's
right.
not the way this offense is designed.
That's
what are
correct.
you talking about, bro?
That's very correct.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, Tua doing a 7-step
to
drop
get under
15
center
times a game.
Well, let's just tell McDaniel, who, by the way, made this offense top 10 in the NFL last year, hey, man, just go ahead and change your entire offense because we don't have a center who can snap a football correctly.
We are not getting we are getting the most in-depth center snap conversation on the internet, folks. So if you look, this is a lot, but it's important. I agree with how much conviction you have in this because everything could be working, right? Everything could be going exactly well. And then it's a drive killer.
Yep.
If it's second and short in the red zone and you're not looking for 3, you're looking for 6. And then every 2 is 5 of 5, 4 first downs. And then all of a sudden, running up to the center. Oh, no. Oh, it's 3rd and a mile. It's 33rd and 3rd.
Dean Brown said that's not why we're winning nothing because we're limited. All we do is shotgun. Dean.
But that's why you can't have – you need – all right. Oh, my God. All right. Here's the deal. Dean.
Jason, I can't. Dean Brown is getting me wound up this morning.
It's okay. It's okay. I like it. And I got the text. My wife's working upstairs. I got the emoji. So I'm at a 10. I need to bring it to a 3.
Dean?
All right. No. When you're
Dean,
when
I'm
you're
in, you on the panel, man.
When you're in that kind of formation that often, you need to limit the liability. Not care about the amount of times the liability could pop its head. That's why, here we go. Ready for this, Stephen? That's why I'm prepared for mayhem like bad snaps, like Alama, mayhem, Uluave.
And by the way, here's the
insurance for bad snaps.
Let me put this out there, Dean, and the rest of the people that are watching. All 118 of y'all and only 36 likes. So hit the like button, please. Hit the like button now. What did Noob just say? So if a bad snap is a drive killer, what's an injured quarterback? He wasn't injured because of the line.
You know what an injured quarterback is? You know what an injured quarterback is? An injured quarterback, it happens. When Tom Brady went down for the Patriots, the Dolphins happened to have snuck in and won the division.
Like
Things happen.
I hate you, Noob.
Injuries happen. It's like, you know what I feel like, and I don't need to I'm not calling anyone out. This is a sidebar conversation. It's like what we love to do, and I'm not saying it's wrong.
Joe, I would bet it's under 20. I would bet it's under 10. I would bet it's under 10. And I would guarantee you a majority of them come from Connor Williams. I said it. That's how I feel. Now, I'm a little exaggerating on that, but that's how I feel about Connor Williams and his snapping.
If you want to look at teams who were not affected by starting quarterback injuries that did happen to go on and win a Super Bowl, there were like 3. Like in history. If I'm wrong, please tell me. It's Nick Foles, Jeff Hostetler, and Earl Morrall.
Yep, facts.
Like where else are we? I mean, where else are we?
Noob said, "Sorry, he's not talking to you, Noob. I don't think he's talking to you.
I was talking to Noob.
Oh, you were? Okay.
I'm spazzing. Oh, no.
Noob is being Noob. Let Noob be Noob.
Is this the same Noob as the other Noob? How many Noobs are there?
Our Noob.
It's like Spaceballs. I'm surrounded by noobs.
Name all the time. Right now, he's Noob Lorian.
Keep firing, noobs.
I love Noob. Okay, look. All right, so here's my thing, Dean. Okay, I'm going to talk to Dean. Dean, listen, right here, bud. Hope you're listening to me, Dean.
Steven's on
fire. I'm going to have to talk to you and I. And I hope you hear me clearly, Dean. Okay? The Dolphins' offense is predicated on timing. Okay? And when you have timing, you need a center that can snap the ball almost perfectly. I'm not saying he has to be perfect. I'm saying almost perfectly.
Pretty much.
Because your offense is predicated on timing. So if I have a center who's great at blocking, and I have a center who's bad at snapping, which is currently what I have right now as a Dolphins fan, just to throw that out there, I should never, as a fan, as a player, as a team, ever have to choose between the two. I shouldn't have to. I should get both with the price of one. If you're a center, you should know how to snap. If you're a center, you should know how to block. If you can't do both, you shouldn't be a damn center. Go back to guard.
One thing I need to address to Cruz. One thing, and I'm going to address a movie, The Big Short. When it comes to undrafted free agents, I'm like, when it comes to undrafted free agents, if I have that ridiculous man crush, I'll make fun of I'll make fun of myself that I'm doing the man crush. But the 3 or 4 times that I've done that, it's worked. I have a lot of high hopes for him. So if I miss, I'll miss small. But if I'll hit big. He will be a starting center. He will be the starting center inside of 2 seasons for the Miami Dolphins, which is why an extension probably won't happen for Connor Williams. They're content. They're going to ride this season out. They're going to see if this guy can handle the job. And if Connor Williams has less than 3 high snaps and it doesn't affect the play and we don't see our quarterback dive where one of his arms is flailing out to get the ball and easily 300 pounds can separate a shoulder, like Steven referenced. If that doesn't happen, maybe they'll revisit Connor.
Can you do me a real quick favor, real quick? Look up the teams in 2021 who made the playoffs. Give me the teams in 2021 that made the playoffs.
Right now, you're looking for.
Yes, I want the teams in 2021 that made the playoffs.
All right. I'm on it. All right, the playoff bracket in the AFC as 1 seed, Tennessee Titans, 2, KC, 3, Buffalo, then Cincinnati, then Vegas, then the Patriots and the Steelers. The NFC bracket was Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Dallas, Rams, Cardinals, Niners, Eagles, and hold on, let me just go to the if you want to look, you want me to read you the entire bracket on how it happened?
I'm trying to find. Hold on. For some reason, I can't find any stats after 2021 on shotgun snaps.
I mean, I wish I was prepared with the numbers on that. I can't get those quick. I have no idea where to even start to look. That's a long project. But, that was the year that was the Rams beating the Bengals. What's the end game here? What are we looking to prove?
Rate of offensive plays run from the shotgun in 2022. Here we go.
Okay.
You ready? Let's go here. Let's look at this.
You see, Dean, I respect that, Dean, but that is a pure guess right there. That is a 1,000% lob. And I could tell you that because I could tell you that. That is a 1,000% guess.
All right. So last year, the Dolphins ran the shotgun 65% of the snaps. The
Our quarterback averaged the most yards in the air of any quarterback, CCRR. Just wanted to throw that out there.
So if I'm reading this correctly, we weren't even at the top. Philadelphia and Kansas City were in the Super Bowl last year, right?
Yes.
I don't even see Kansas City or Philly.
Philly is in on the right, second to the bottom, in between Baltimore and Arizona.
Philly, who went to a Super Bowl, Dean, did the shotgun 88% of the snaps last year. Facts.
And also remember, Tua missed a lot of games too.
The Dolphins did it 65% of the time. So don't come up here and tell me that you can't be successful when you're only in one formation. Are you shitting me?
See, this guy's trying to also say,
me, Dean? Dean, in the NFL, in order to be successful, you need a damn center who knows how to snap. And if you ain't got it, you are susceptible to injuries, to bad drives, to turnovers, to injured players. You name it. The Dolphins have put themselves in a hole with Connor Williams at center. Now, I'm not saying Connor is a bad player. I'm saying he's a bad snapper.
Correct. That's exactly right.
I blame Tua for not being good enough. Now you blame, you know what, Dean? There's no point in having a conversation with you because now you're just reaching for anything for your argument. You're just reaching for anything now. Tua, when he is hot, he's one of the best players in the NFL. Don't give me that.
And just to address that and to play that and to get back into a silly little argument about, Tua not being able to throw a 15-yard out. He throws the ball deep downfield. He's proven that. And wait a tick, he led the league in quarterback rating last year. So I can't necessarily get on board with that. He can't throw a 15-yard out. And then when it comes with the what does the most air yards have to do with it? Something. We should move on from the high snap.
I can't. I'm so wound up. Dean has got me so wound up, Jason.
See, it's funny you say that because you tell me, Jason, don't get wound up so often. You see how I get wound up all the time? No, I'm just kidding. I
blame him for being too short to get high snaps.
We got to segue.
I just can't. I give up, Dean. I give up.
I love you. We got to get out. We got to get out. We got to flip the narrative. We got to go to the other side of the ball. Let's talk defense. Let's talk Vic Fangio. What a segue. Let's talk Vic Fangio and the Dolphins defense. How about that?
I am very excited. It is all love, Dean. It's all love, lady.
It's all love.
You got me wound up this morning, but it's all love. To be fair, I want people to know, by the way, I think the Dolphins are a good football team and on paper can be a 13-14 win team. Now, ultimately, understanding what I know about injuries and the way the NFL is, I think we're probably an 11-win team right now.
That's my number.
But we have to be able to be more in depth at certain positions. And when we now become that if a player gets injured, that next man up mentality, and it's a quality player, which means that now that 11-win total might go to 12 or even 13. So yesterday I did the show and we did the win-loss, and I said we were winning 14 games. That's funny.
Hopium OD. Someone get this man a doctor.
I think that we can do it, but everything would have to go perfect for that to happen. To win 14 games in this NFL with this football team, there would almost have to be no injuries. Tua would have to play every game, and we would have to have a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense. By the way, all of those things are entirely plausible with this roster.
Bing, bing, bing. Plausible. I love it.
But it's unlikely that all those things happen that perfect because I don't know if the football gods like us that much. I'm just being honest.
Forget the football gods. Let's talk about the proof of the pudding. Looking at last year's team, we could easily, all right, let me phrase this the way I want to phrase this for all positives. Let's for the lack of a better want, let's make this a positive. We just hit 11 o'clock, positive hour. Okay. Positive hour. If you look at the numbers,
just got us on Twitter.
I know. Oh no.
He got us on Twitter.
Us?
Yeah, you and I both.
Oh,
it's pretty
shit.
good.
Oh shit.
Let me
Bring it up.
Play it real quick.
I know that. What's his name?
It's pretty good, bro. I can't. I hate Noob with a passion, but I love him at the same time.
Man, a gunner.
I did, sir. He's my cousin.
Who is he?
He's an asshole, sir.
That? What's his name?
That is his name, sir. Asshole. Major asshole.
Cousin?
He's an asshole, too, sir. Gunner's mate, first class, Philip asshole.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
Yo!
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Noob, you killed it, bro. You killed it. I love it. Oh, I'm crying. That's so good. That's so good.
That was amazing. Noob, leave. Drop the mic.
Noob, that was. I'm reposting that.
Oh my God.
That's how I felt for a second this morning,
that was
bro.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
On a segue, that was, I don't know if you know this or I've tweeted this, but Mel Brooks is the Marino of movies for me. That's my guy.
If you ask Joe Montana, he'll probably say the same thing.
Oh, that was he did that in 45 seconds.
Bro. Noob is hands down the Dan Marino of yes. Standing ovation to Noob. Standing ovation to Noob. Y'all give Noob his credit.
Wow.
Dude's a monster when it comes to Twitter, bro.
See, the only annoying thing about this is my dad loves Mel Brooks. I was watching The Producers with my dad at 8. I'm going to have to explain to him how to get on Twitter, how to watch this.
How to watch that.
Yeah, because he loves Mel Brooks, and he just has no clue how to operate Twitter, but he needs to see this. So this is going to be fun. Thank you, Noob. That was fun. That was amazing. That was
all right, let's get into the defense. So I was trying to say something before I got thrown off by Noob's tweet.
It's comb the desert. Comb the desert.
Number one, personnel packaging is important in the execution of success. We're very top heavy, and our starters are absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. For all intents and purposes, we probably have, let's say, 10 players when everybody's healthy who could easily be a franchise player. Easily. When you have that many caliber players that are that good, you should, by virtue, be a playoff team. That's how good you should be. And by the way, that's how good our GM is at getting talent in the door like that. Via trade, via draft, via undrafted free agency, all of that. So you can sit here and say all you want about Greer, and I can too. And I have my beef with him on certain things, but I'm going to give credit where credit's due. And at the top part of this roster, I don't think anybody else on paper, Kansas City and Philly included, compete with us. And I mean that for a fact. Now, after the starters, now we're going to start getting into, are we even mid-tier in the NFL?
And here's my answer. I'll tell you in the middle of the season. And I know you're going to hate that or like it. But the fact of the matter is this. And this is before Noob crushed it. We needed a comic relief, so it was absolutely perfect. But thank God I remembered the track I was going on because it segues perfectly. The difference of this team from what it was last year and what happened to it last year to what it is now. The elephant in the room in terms of the difference is Vic Fangio. Put a pin on that for a second. Philosophically and matching the second year of a Tua going into offense with continuity of it, they have now figured out a little bit what they need. I mentioned an hour ago that Mike Gesicki and Trent Sherfield were his number 3 and number 4 targeted players last year. They're both out. After that, it was Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Alec Ingold, Durham Smythe. Let's keep those folks there, but move them down 2 notches and find the number 3 receiver, which we didn't have last year, outside of cameos from Trent Sherfield twice a game. It was twice a game. Think about it. Other games featured more, but that was the average. Braxton Berrios, to me, is a candidate for unsung hero on this team because we need, you know what's funny?
We need Berrios to be good in special teams, and we need Berrios to be good on the offensive side of the ball.
Everyone's been looking for a receiver core Batman and Robin. Who's the best Batman and Robin? Right? We have Batman and Robin. We need a third. Like, that's where we are in a passing league. Like, if you're the Bengals and you have, 2 top receivers in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, the third guy is other team's second guy in Tyler Boyd. He's still on the team, I believe. You need a third receiver.
But I get your point. I get your
or you have Patrick Mahomes where you could throw to gym teachers and it wouldn't matter.
And by the way, that's kind of funny you say that, because a little bit earlier you had pointed out to somebody in the chat our third wide receiver last year, or third incomplete, was Gesicki, right? Yeah,
so you're right. It doesn't mean that they wanted it to happen.
Huge drop off after that. Like,
you want to hear something scary? You want to hear something scary? Chase Edmonds had more targets than Durham Smythe last year.
And Chase Edmonds only stayed on the team for 7 games.
Ding, ding, ding. But that's not a detriment to Durham Smythe in a regard that he was thrown to 20 times and caught him 15, created 8 first downs. I like that. 80% catch rate, 50% first down rate. That's Durham Smythe for you. Do that times 3 for Braxton Berrios.
Well, and I also want to be fair that I think River Craycraft, I'm telling you guys, I think he's going to be big in this offense this year.
Now, define big. I'm not being devil's advocate. I'm pulling on your thread. I'm pulling on your thread.
I think he's going to be top 4 in touchdowns for the Dolphins this year.
You know why I really love that freaking answer, Steven?
I think he's going to be top 4.
You know why? Okay. That was a really awesome answer because it brings up, it's a one-play thing. You could literally be targeted 5 times, and by the grace of God, it could be 5 touchdowns.
Yep.
So if you're playing the numbers, that's a heck of a play, because I was going to say in volume, we're not factoring Craycraft in top 5 receptions. He's not on the field.
He's not even close to being top 5 in receptions this year, but
correct.
He's going to be top 4, top 5 in touchdowns this year.
If that's where he's headed, if we're in week 6 and he's got 8 catches and 3 touchdowns, I'm loving where we're going, because that means that he is counted on in the money areas, because these touchdowns probably aren't going to be 83-yard touchdowns, 45-yard bombs. 3rd and 1 on the 8.
No, we're talking like we're in the red zone.
Exactly.
It's like that.
Exactly.
That's where River Craycraft is perfect.
Here's where you're right.
We saw that like 3 or 4 times last year with him. And I think the part of the reason he made the team this year is because Mike McDaniel is going to expound upon that this year. Now, with that being said, well, Steven, where does that leave the running backs? Right? And I know we want to get into the defensive side of the ball. We keep on
we're
pushing
good. We're
back,
good. We're totally fine. Who cares? It's Friday.
But Chris Brooks and Devon Achane are the X factors right now. Chris Brooks and Devon Achane, in my opinion, those 2 guys alone are the sole reason that Dalvin Cook's not here, that Jonathan Taylor's not here, that Saquon Barkley's not here, Josh Jacobs, Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, any one of them. I think they are the sole reason we have not gone out and gotten a big tier running or executed on getting a big tier running back, because they think the ceiling is high for these guys. They like it's low risk, high reward with both of these guys. And they're like, if we get it, we're never going to find out what these guys got. because we're going to have to give the balls or these handoffs to the guys we brought in. But if we can see what we got, right?
Steven, you want to laugh? You like a good laugh, right?
Yep.
Did we make the playoffs last year?
100% with the running back personnel.
Timeout.
And we didn't.
Timeout.
Suedo said
Timeout. River Craycraft was tied last year for top 4 on the Dolphins in touchdowns.
Yeah. And we're going to be better this year.
But that's you're right. It was 2, but 3 people were tied at 2
yeah.
for the top 4 in touchdowns. And
River Craycraft will not be top 5 in receptions, but will be top 4 in touchdown receptions.
It would be a repeat from last year.
Fair.
It would be a repeat from last year.
Yep.
Which is very fair. It's very fair.
But again, to go back to the running back situation, A-Chain and Chris Brooks are the sole reason we did not execute on getting a top-tier running back. Now, come week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, right before that trade deadline, we come to find out, you know what, this ain't working out too well. This is not what we thought. I fully expect the Miami Dolphins to be making phone calls and executing on some of these trades for Jonathan Taylor or whoever. I don't think we're out on Jonathan Taylor at all. I think we want to see what we have in Devon A-Chain and Christopher Brooks before we make any more decisions on what we're going to do there. Now, the Dolphins were top 10 in the NFL last year on offense. There is no reason for me to think. No reason. Giovanni, what are you saying? Big time cap. I love you, Steven, but that is not true. Tell me what's not true. I'll debate it with you, Giovanni. You can get this smoke too, Giovanni, just like Dean did this morning. Okay? You can get the smoke too. I'm about that life today. Ask Lewis. Lewis knows I'm about that life. Talking about rainbows and unicorns. Get out of here, Lewis. It's your rainbows and unicorn self. Okay?
Steven's going into Labor Day working.
But bro, I woke up and I chose violence this morning. Okay? No spread kindness on Spread Kindness Friday. Okay?
Oh no, he's
Don't
turning.
start with me, Giovanni.
It's turning.
You don't want me.
We're in September Steven mode. We're here.
Okay. All right.
Bring it down.
Woosah. Okay. So that is a lie. What is explain to me what's a lie? So they went after all those running backs. So that is a lie. No, they went after them, but they weren't. Giovanni, they 100% went after those guys. Nobody's denying that, but they were going to go after those guys on their terms, not on the team's terms or the players' terms. But come week 4, week 5, they realize if they think that A-Chain and Christopher Brooks are not the solution or come around trade deadline, they will be more inclined to be more aggressive to go get those guys. So their numbers might go up. Their trades might go up on what they're willing to give.
Now, here's what I want to look for, too. You're right there. Here's what I want to look for very, very, very carefully. And I know everyone here on Twitter, we're all going to probably in some way, shape, or form be guilty of this. It's going to be week 3, week 4. We're going to look at the raw statistics. We're going to look at the 100-yard rushers. And we're not going to be on those lists, but I don't want to look for the raw yardage numbers. I want third down conversions. I want yards per carry. I want timeliness in the red zone and goal line of how these running backs are performing. If those roles are okay, I don't care if we rush the ball on a raw situation, 25th in the league. But if we're averaging, 4.6 yards per carry, we have a top 9 offense, the efficiency's there. That's what you pay for. You're not paying to get top 10 offensive rushing production. Correct. You're having an overall formula, certain little different amounts of spices in the overall dish that is going to make this thing go. And if you look to where the money is spent, that's why you have 90% of the receptions going to your wide receivers who are the premium players. One of them you're paying an arm, a leg, 2 other, body parts for anyway. The running backs they're going to utilize as per their budget And it's not bad because efficiently they're good. The numbers are there. They just have to be utilized better in better times and step up at the exact right time. 3rd and 1, you need that first down to either score, get a first down, or move the sticks, or end the game. If it's to end or let the world proceed, we have a guy that I'll be confident that the world will go on now.
And realist
And have
Miami
that guy.
Dolphins YouTube channel, that was a lot of ifs, Mr. Sarney, and them ifs are not ifs if we make that trade and just give up a first round. I'll
answer that.
That statement in general is facts. Like, you're not lying there. Those are facts.
But I'll answer.
The issue is the Dolphins didn't want to give that up right now, nor, in my opinion, did they need to, because they want to see what they got. And they don't have to. Here's the thing. They played chicken with Indianapolis, and to be fair, I think they won that game of chicken. Because Indy was basically...
They'll always win.
Indy was hedging their bets on somebody's going to come in last minute, somebody's going to give us the world, somebody's going to go crazy, okay? But let's be honest, my guy, okay? Nobody gave up a first round for them, so they didn't get what they wanted. And guess where Jonathan Taylor currently is? Sitting on the PUP list in Indianapolis, pissed off. 100%.
What Chris Greer was doing was making him in play if they were going to trade him. He was making himself either one or the two teams that if a deal was approved, he obviously would have played ball and put his contractual terms. I don't think he was going to make him the highest paid running back. That goes directly against his mindset. What he would have probably loved to do is match or go in and around Josh Jacobs for a year, see what happens, and then re-sign him to a deal, or just let him walk for running back heaven next year if he so chooses to dip his feet in those waters, because everyone's on the market. In a depreciating market where right now people are getting less than what they want, and they're not signing multiple year deals for $40 million and $30 million. So Chris Greer played this hand completely well.
And so here's the other thing, ladies and gentlemen. The Dolphins are sitting with about 10 plus, 11 plus million in cap space. They have all this draft capital, and they are hedging their bets on a lot of these young guys. Julian Hill, Chris Brooks, Devon A-Chain, Eric Ezukama, all these people, right? If the Dolphins want to come week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, right before that trade deadline, they can ultimately go do whatever the hell they want to do because they will have the capital and resources to do it. And here's the best part. Come week 7 or 8, right when that trade deadline happens, Arizona ain't going to be the only team tanking for Caleb Williams. There's going to be 2 or 3 other teams that are like, okay, we're ready to go. We're ready to get some of these guys out of here. What do we need to do?
Yeah, but you know what, Steven, if that's that, okay, here's where we go, and you're a baseball guy. I used to be a huge baseball fan, and the number one thing for me back before the internet was like that Baseball Tonight with buyers and sellers before the trade deadline. Like baseball, there's so much of that. Who was we shipping out to get push for the World Series?
You know, I'm a big
rebuilding. Exactly right. So for the Dolphins to utilize a team like, let's say it's the Cardinals, you're gonna have to ship them draft picks for players. Zach Ertz. We want exactly, you know what I mean? So if we're looking for players, it's
exactly what we did for Bradley Chubb last year.
Right. Now is the time. Right now. See, right now, I mentioned earlier that like they're content with the roster. That doesn't mean that Chris Greer is taking a nap. He's not at all. Listen to me, everyone. He's always working.
And by the way, I know Jet fans were clowning us on Twitter yesterday about the Alec Ingold signing.
They have no clue.
They have no clue. That Alec Ingold signing,
what it did for us,
is freaking gold.
Wonder who planted that.
You got Alec Ingold this year plus another 3 years for 17 mil. Yes, he's a fullback, but he's going to score touchdowns. You know what? You want to know where I might be wrong about my River Craycraft prediction? Alec Ingold, because his hand's not broke this year.
Right. What do you want?
I could be wrong about my top 4 with River Craycraft, and the only person that I think will remotely make that wrong is Alec Ingold, because he's going to get a chance to get the ball out of the backfield, catching all that stuff on short yardage and in the red zone. We saw it all in training camp. check down after check down after check down. Ingold. Ingold this year, I guarantee you, will be top 3. Ingold will be top 4 in receptions. Ingold will be top 4 in receptions. Point blank. Ingold's going to have a good year.
A good year, yes. I'll give you the good year.
You don't think he's going to be top 4 in receptions?
I don't think he's going to be top 4 in receptions.
I don't know. What did we see all through training camp?
We need him.
We saw 1 million checkdowns to Alec Ingold in training camp from Tua.
I think we're looking at 30 targets.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Ingold's going to get catches this year.
Yeah, 20.
Man was broken.
We need him to do the dirty work too. If he gets a 3rd and 1 pass catch, great. But if we're looking at 4 to 6 targets for Ingold a game, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to. We want Ingold to be in the top 10.
Steven, how is he going to be top 4? Tua doesn't throw to running backs. Let's be real.
Well, that's wrong, Dean.
Air is thin in Baltimore today, Newfoundland.
Raheem Mostert was the 4th targeted player last year. And if we're looking at the structure of the running backs, we're looking at Devon Chain, who I think could be factored into
Von Joe. You don't want this, Von Joe. You don't want this, Von Joe. I chose violence today. You don't want this, Von Joe.
Von Joe and I had a moment. We had a cooking moment on a Spaces. We shared about a salmon dish. He gave me a tip, a salmon dish. Yeah. I gave him a glaze. He gave me a whole new thing to do. So
Von Joe, when he wants to be, is an okay
he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Most days.
I think I found our spirit.
Not like he wants to be.
I think cooking is the way to channel.
Let's use your logic, and let's just see how the running back room does when we have a 2-year window to win the Super Bowl.
It's not a 2-year window. Oh my God!
You chose lying. I hate you, Von Joe.
It's not a 2-year window, folks.
It was great, but today's a new day, and it's easily Stephen D.
It's not a 2-year window.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Hey, look. All right. I think River Craycraft's going to have a big year in touchdowns. I think Alec Ingold's going to have a good year in receptions. And y'all can say what y'all want, but I'm telling you right now, they will be towards the top of every list in those 2 stats. Okay.
They will be factors for sure.
They will be big factors in the success of this team.
Tua did miss 5 games, yes, but he's going to throw to running backs because now Mike McDaniel is adding things that we didn't see last year that we kind of saw sprinkles of in the preseason.
He told you in the end of the year press conference last year, McDaniel came up to the podium and said, along with his and adjusting.
I think that's by design, by the way.
All of that.
I think that's by design.
He said in the end of the year press conference last year, along with a lot of other I abandoned the run game way too early in certain games and at certain point in the season, and I should have stuck with it more. What does he do? Runs it back with the running back room, adds A-Chain. Wilson goes on IR. They bring in this other guy. I can't think of his name, who they just brought in yesterday, the new guy. Evans. But
I think
no matter what, they're going to go with the run more than they did last year. Mm-hmm. And here's the best part about all this. You know, part of the reason why they banded the run in certain games, because your defense was giving up leads because of the defensive schemes that Boyer was playing. So you had to throw with the last 8 minutes of a game instead of running the ball. And now I blame McDaniel on certain situations. Don't get it twisted. I can point the finger at McDaniel on a couple of losses last year, part of them, not all of them, but part of them. Same thing I can do with Boyer. But Fangio, and this is where we can segue into Vic Fangio. Fangio and his schemes alone would have changed the outcome of 2 to 3 games last year.
Oh God,
yeah. Chargers being 1, San Francisco being 2,
Buffalo
and Buffalo in December being 3.
And there's your second round of the playoffs. There's your might not even be in Buffalo in the playoffs. There's your division.
Miami all of a sudden now they're hosting because they tied with them.
Well, right, yeah, right. That would be.
They would have tied and they would have swept them. So Miami would have been hosting the playoff game in Miami. Chargers,
yes.
San Francisco, and December Buffalo. Fangio's the defensive coordinator. We win those games.
You could have parked a yacht in the space where Austin Eckler made a massive play at the end of the first half to get a touchdown for the Chargers instead of holding them to a field goal going into the locker room. That wasn't the exact point differential at the end of the game, but it made it a different complexion going into the locker room. Josh Boyer called the worst game I've ever witnessed in Los Angeles. And I don't think we're going to have situations where we're going to say Vic Fangio called a horrible game. I'm not saying the man is infallible, but I'm not worried at all. Like if I see a weird scheme out there and I'm like circling an area of the field pre-snap, like, oh, what the, where?
I didn't even say that. I didn't even talk about the playoff game, real Smiley.
No, I was with you too. The Tua game.
I said the December,
December
Buffalo game.
Correct.
Yes,
correct.
Tua does deserve some of the blame in all 3 of those games. Yes, McDaniel deserves some of the blame in all 3 of those games. But I am telling you all right now, if Boyer plays it differently on defense, correct, those things become irrelevant.
There were situations where you needed to get the offense off the field. Josh Boyer needed to get a third down stop. Josh Boyer needed to come up with a play.
I'm going to show my feet on the screen, and you're going to get mad, Rashad, because I know how much you love feet. Keep it up. I said one player. I said Alec Ingold would be 4th in receptions, and I said that River Craycraft would be 4th in touchdowns. Okay?
Don't put my name on the Ingold.
Okay?
I think he's going to get receptions. Don't get me wrong. But you need the following players to be above Alec Ingold in receptions for us to have any kind of really, really good progression here. You need Tyreek, you need Waddle, you need Berrios, you need Ezukama, you need 1 tight end at least, you need 1 running back at least, and then I'll talk to you in the top 6.
You know what? I got another one for you. Another hot take. No tight end will be top 5 in receptions or touchdowns this year. No tight end will be top 5 in any of those.
That's fine. That's I don't see a tight end individually getting more than 35 targets. So that would put them at 25 at best receptions, which puts them 6, 7, 8. Like
there will be multiple games this year, multiple games where Alec Ingold will get more receptions than tight ends as a whole.
As a whole, you're looking at 2 tops per game by Alec.
For who? Ingold?
Yes.
No, dude. No, I promise you, he gets more than that.
He's not getting 40 receptions for a season.
What does he need to do to get 40 receptions in 7
3 a
game?
Essentially,
I'm telling you right now, Alec Ingold gets more than 3 receptions.
That means he has to be targeted 6 or 7 times.
He will be 100%. He will.
No, he won't be.
Yes, he will.
There's not enough receptions to go around. It's not his job to go out. Jason, it's not his job.
I'm not a betting man, but we're gonna look after the first 4 weeks. I promise you, Ingold will have more receptions than any of the tight ends combined.
Well, that's a different story. I just gave you the bar at 30 for the targets for the receptions. I mean, for the targets even. So
he's gonna get 4 or 5 receptions in every game.
He can't get 4 or 5 receptions in every game. That's 50 receptions. That's 60 receptions.
Ingold broke his hand last year. He was in listen to me. Ingold was in. Listen. You're not listening, Jason.
I'm listening.
Okay.
I hear what you're saying.
Okay?
I'm not listening to your
you're
logic.
Hearing the words that I'm saying.
Do the math.
Comprehending, Jason. Alec Ingold broke his hand last year.
I understand that.
And was in the tight end formation, 75% of the snaps last year? 70% of the snaps?
Steven, he's never had a reception year of over 15.
And I'm telling you right now, he's going to break 30 this year. He's going to break 30 this year. He's going to break 30 this year.
43 receptions in his career, sir.
He's going to break 30 this year.
Now we're going down. Now we're not talking 50. Now we're talking 7 more than last year's.
He will
targets.
have over 30 receptions this year. Hot take, book it.
I'm gonna cap it.
Chef Shu, I hope you're writing this down. Stephen D said Alec Ingold, barring injury, mind you, barring injury, will have 30 plus receptions this year for the Dolphins.
He's never been.
River Craycraft will be 4th in touchdowns, and Alec Ingold will be 4th in receptions.
Steven, he's never been targeted more than
who
23 times.
Who was number 4 in receptions last year for us? Who was number 4 in receptions last year?
This is a tough hill. This is a tough hill to die on. This is a tough hill to die on, Steven. It was Raheem Mostert.
And how many did Raheem Mostert have?
31.
I'm telling you right now, Alec Ingold will get more than that.
You're not.
Alec Ingold will get more than that.
That's not what we're trying to say here, Steven.
Jason, I'm going to be right on this. And then you're going to come up here and you're going to be like, Steven, how did you know? And I'm going to be like,
gets 30
I'm the smartest man alive, Jason.
30 receptions is a lot. But you're saying he's going to be the 4th leader of the Miami Dolphins in receptions.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever got Jason wound up a little bit.
Steven, I'm going to ask you a question, and I need you to answer this really.
Okay, I promise you I will. I promise you.
Really, really carefully.
I promise you I will.
Are you betting my life on this?
I would never bet. I don't bet, period. So the answer to that is no.
Do not.
I wouldn't. I haven't bet since August 13th.
You ever hear?
I'm not going to start now, but I'm telling you right now, Alec Ingold's going to be 4th in receptions. I am on the money on this. You just said 30. Come back. Don't leave. Okay. All right. Well, that just happened. Hello, Jason. I'm laughing.
Brandon Pilley made the team, and what I love about he is the 15th individual from Anchorage, Alaska as a state to be an NFL player. I dubbed him the Anchor of Anchorage, and sorry to ship that boat out and bring a new one into the docks, Stephen, but Alec Ingold is not going to be the full.
You brought it back. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's okay, Jason. Jason, listen to me. I am not your enemy, Jason. I am not your enemy.
Everyone does realize I love Alec Ingold.
Side note, real quick. Is that the Miami Miracle shirt?
It actually is. Yep. That's the route tree.
I love it. I love it.
Noisy play.
I'm not trying to change.
30 receptions, 35 receptions. Even if it's that would mean that he's quadrupled the amount of seasonal targets than he's used to, number one. That would also mean that what we're dictating is that we have not even come close to finding a 3rd or 4th receiver, which is
no. But Jason,
there's no mathematical ability to think that he's going to catch 40 or 50 passes.
There was multiple games where Tua threw to 7 or 8 people. Multiple games. He distributes the ball. He does not play favorites, with the exception of Jalen and Tyreek.
So let's do a 30. Okay, if he throws the ball 30 times in a game where he's needing to be in a passing play, in a passing situation, number one, let's work backwards. We'll find out Tua, and I don't mean to be devil's advocate. I just want to find out where the math is coming from.
How many receptions does Sherfield have?
No.
I just want to know how many. Somebody 40, asked that. 30, I am interested to know.
30?
Sherfield had 30?
Hold on. Let me look. Sherfield. How many receptions did he have? As the 4th leading Dolphins receiver. But we're not understanding what I'm trying to point out, too.
You said Raheem Mostert was number 4 last year.
No, I said he was 5, actually, Mostert. 4 was Sherfield with 30. Or reverse them. 30 was Mostert. Sorry, no, 30 was Sherfield. And if we're looking at the entire leaders in receptions from last year, I'm on multiple screens here. Mostert was one more reception over Sherfield. Now, just hear me out. Just hear me out. If we're looking at last year, the problem was that, yes, Ingold was 6th. I know that's like right close to 4 with 15 receptions.
Your dog is going off, bro.
I know. I'm trying to. The fact of the matter is they did not have a third receiver at all. Not even someone who they could completely rely on every game. Sherfield was the closest thing to it. It wasn't enough. There's no way that Ingold is going to get 4 to 6 targets a game to warrant the 40 to catches that he's going to need in this offense to be a top 5 catcher. I think my family left the house, by the way.
They were like, "Oh, we're out of here."
I think
we're out of here.
My family left the house.
Is your dog mad at my takes?
I've never heard him like this. This is bad. I think it's because of this. It's because of Ingold's take on the catches.
Hey, can you run the show for just 2 minutes? I got to make one phone call. Just 2 minutes. Can you get into the chat?
Dog in the background. I'll do my best.
Yes,
but
I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
I'm going to bring someone up, and I want to talk to them. Lewis, I need someone to help talk Steven down, so I'm going to bring someone.
All right, this is for Lewis. This is for Lewis only. Lewis, get up here, because I got to make this phone call real quick. Lewis,
I need to toss it to someone while someone talks. So
it's only for Lewis. Lewis is the only one. I'll wait for Lewis to get up here.
You know I love my guy, Steven. My point. Lewis, get up here. This dog is driving me crazy, and my kids had to go out of the house, so I'm on my own. By the way,
there's like your dog's like, "Hey, Dad, Steven's takes are bad, bro. They're so bad."
What it is, but this is not a detriment on Alec Ingold. He is a guy that needs to help block, come up with maybe a catch here or there. 23 targets last year is a little over. It's like 1.3 a game. Now, in this offense, where you're going to now insert a pure wide receiver slot first down generator guy in Braxton Berrios. If he's not getting 35 receptions, we're in big trouble. So all of a sudden you got to throw Berrios over Sherfield and put him above Mostert and put him above a fullback. Then you have a guy like maybe Eric Ezukama, who we really would hope has more than 25 catches. We have a guy like a Durham Smythe who will get around 25, 30 catches. And then you have your running backs, your Devon A-Chains, who if he gets 2 or 3 catches, now you're in the 30 range, 35, 40 range, which is what I project for A-Chain. Ingold is not going to be out in routes 3 to 5 times a game, maybe 1 to 2, and he's probably going to make those catches. If he makes 30 catches, 35 catches, that's an exorbitant amount, but it would mean that he's getting way more targets than a fullback is going to warrant in this offense. It's a nice theory to think, and I think he's going to get catches, yes, but we can't say he's going to be a top 4 catcher. That's just mathematically, it's not there. Lewis,
I'll be right back. Here's Lewis. I'll be right back.
Lewis, how you doing, man?
Hey, good morning, fellas. How are you, Jason?
I'm good, and I want to make sure I'm not bashing Steven's take. I'm not saying that Alec is not going to be in the offense. He'll definitely get like his 15 to 25 catches, but he's not a overall peppered with targets kind of a player, and that's kind of my point.
I would tend to agree with you. I think I'm more in line with what you're saying, Jason. We know the 2 big ones, Waddle and Hill. I think Braxton Berrios is going to be a pleasant surprise for us coming out of the slot. The guy I'm looking for is to pick up the slack is Eric Ezukama, right? Like I think Eric Ezukama brings a lot of things that we don't have. That we don't have in the room, right? A lot of small guys, a lot of speed guys. Eric Ezukama is bigger type of wide receiver. Look at Trent Sherfield last year. One of the main reasons he got on the field last year, Jason, was his blocking, right? For his blocking aspect. Eric Ezukama, even in the preseason, I think his blocking has gotten better. I think his route running has gotten better. And I think it's like the Debo row, right? Look at the first game against Atlanta. First two plays, jet sweep and a reverse, right? I think Eric is a comma. So yeah, I think Alex Ingold to the main point. I think Alex Ingold will be a plus. I think he'll be better than what he was last year, but I don't think he's gonna, just Steven. I don't think he's gonna have that kind of role, right? I think he'll little red zone work, maybe a swing route coming out of the backfield here and there, but I don't think he's a primary target in this offense by any stretch.
Correct. I mean, 17 games, let's call 3 targets a game. If he catches 80% of those, it should be around 6th on the team, which is great for like a fullback. But what we need in this offense, with Tua healthy, of course, is finding that third option when Tyreek and, Waddle are covered. You need that safety route in the middle of the field. I think that's either Barris, either Ezukama. Both those guys need to be involved heavily. So it's a fun argument. It really is, because Ingold is a guy that if someone says we need you to catch the ball early and often, he could do it. But I just don't think that that's in the cards, especially with River Craycraft should be getting more targets than him and catches as well. So other than the Ingold, Lewis, has there been anything in the show that we spoke about that you want to bring up, bring back, anything new? What would you like?
Oh man. No, I think the show's been, pretty good so far. I guess for me, special teams. What are your thoughts, Jason, on the special teams? We know, Braxton, I think, is going to be more the punt returner kind of guy. Kickoff, we might see A-Chain and Braxton in that role. But specifically, like Jason Sanders, Sarney, have you seen anything of days that you went to, like, training camp? Is that a concern? Like, speak on the special teams, because, like, listen, we all know, Jason, you can win and lose games with the special teams. That in this league, a lot of games come down to the wire. Are we going to get the Sandman back from 2 years ago, the reason we gave him that contract? Or is there reason to start hitting the panic button in your estimation about Jason Sanders?
Sanders has always had the leg, right? I mean, I've never, maybe once, but he doesn't miss short. He misses wide. It varies, it veers, It's mental. Could have been some holding here or there. He's had 3 different holders the last 3 years. I know I like to joke around about that. It's consistency. I apologize about the dog, folks. This is a really weird time of year, right before school. Me and my wife working right before a long weekend, but sorry about the dog. I think it's not the distance. It's just getting right accuracy. I think he'll be okay. They're not getting rid of him. I don't think they're bringing in anybody for camp competition. What I loved seeing, I don't know if most teams do this. When I was at training camp, they had on the mesh of the net on the practice field, they had an X like 15 yards above the uprights. And even if it was a 20-yard field goal, that's what he was aiming for. So, you know what? I'm sure other teams do that. But I really was taking like 10, 15, minutes overall in my experience in camp to focus on Sanders aiming for the X. And he was hitting the X. And we saw all of his kicks go through the uprights this preseason. And some of them he would have cleared by an extra 15, 20 yards, 1 or 2 40-yarders. So never the leg. And that's the number one thing you want. You want a guy with a leg, but you got to make sure it's almost like a putter who just loses the putting, the yips. He's there, but he's got to get right in between the ears, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you.
What I mean? He's not mentally not right, but I think it's just focus, get the right procedure. The leg is there.
Absolutely. And it seems like we're starting to see that, to your point, a lot of the kicks that we've seen this year in OTAs, preseason games, they've been down the middle. So I'm with you. I only brought that up because that's a topic of concern that I hear anywhere I go. It's special teams. I think we're going to get the Sandman back. Man, the only thing that you mentioned that to bring something up from earlier in the show, and I think I'm in line with you again. X factors are Chris Brooks and Devin A-Chain. But a lot of people within the community, Jason, I mean, you've been coming around the Twitter spaces now. The past couple of weeks I've been seeing you. But this Chris Brooks hype, I mean, is it real? Because again, I like the kid, but remember Skylar Thompson last year?
Sorry, guys, I'm back.
You're good. You're good, Steven. But Skylar Thompson, right? Like last preseason, named the MVP of the preseason. He was lighting the league on fire. Then he gets thrown into the fire regular season, and it doesn't look the same of what we've seen in the preseason. That's kind of my concern with Chris Brooks. Like this morning, I stopped and had me a Subway sandwich, and one of the guys that missed one of the tackles in the preseason is the guy that made the sandwich, right? Like, I mean, I'm sorry. I like what the kid is doing. But we got people in this fan base already calling for him to be RB1. I would say pump the brakes. Where are you guys on a guy like Chris Brooks?
Chris Brooks is not RB1 yet. I can tell you that right now.
Sure.
He is a great idea. Like he is a great, like there's a lot to like about the kid. But if we are putting all of our stock into him being a big focal point of our success, then things have went terribly wrong, in my opinion. So,
well, that's why I like what Jason said earlier about the 2 X factor. I think Chris Brooks can be an X factor. I'm just telling the fan base, like, pump the brakes, because I'm sure Jason has heard it in Twitter Spaces. Like, people are real high on this kid, and I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just saying, like, let's calm down a little bit, right? Like, I mean, I don't know.
We can calm down in the sense that, all right, let's understand the running back room, and we'll also understand, yes, Chris Grier showed interest in a one kind of feature back enhanced player from Raheem Mostert. Yes, but this is a running back by committee by design.
And by the way, Lewis, here's another thing too. What you want to know is let's say he gets 5 or 6 carries a game, right? Or 3 to 5 carries a game, right? And that sounds probably about right. If he gets 3 to 5 carries a game, I just want him to get over 5 yards a carry.
Well, that's his job. It's going to be the hard yardage.
And if he does that, Lewis, then in my opinion, he's successful.
Well, to get back on the train, we have a guy who is a short yardage guy. So 5 yards per carry in theory is a guy who could, burst through.
Well, unless he's converting third downs.
Let me just get there. That's exactly what I'm trying to get there. The job for him might be very Lusaka Polite-ish, meaning we don't need him to, over the lifeblood of 30 carries, continually put up over 4.5 yards this year. Steven mentioned 3, 4, 5, whatever the carries it is. Raheem Mostert or Jeff Wilson, when he gets back, or Savon Ahmed or Devon A. Chain, as I referenced earlier, they're not the guys that if the world is going to go on or crumble for one guy to pick up a first down getting inches or a yard, the only man on this roster that I'm comfortable with, if it's not Christian Wilkins in a fun situation, is Chris Brooks. That's his job. So if it's Raheem Mostert picking up 27 yards on a series, Devon A. Chain with a catch to pick up 15 yards, a couple of Tua passes, and it's 3rd and goal on the 1, I would like to roll out Chris Brooks. If it's 4th and inches on the 40 and we're going to see Mike McDaniel go for it, I'd like to see Chris Brooks. So if we're looking for Chris Brooks to have 11 carries and 63 yards a game, I'm sorry. Don't set those expectations. If you're looking at him to be an efficient player who can get a first down when we need it, who can get a touchdown when we desperately need it, that's his job. And then when the volume maybe comes, when now we're thinking that is he our Tony Pollard? Is he our guy who we're just waiting to be the guy in 2 years?
It's so funny you said Tony Pollard, because I actually said that the other day. I said Chris Brooks reminds me of the beginning of Tony Pollard.
Look at the progression of some really, really, really good running backs. It's Austin Eckler. He was a special team.
I said that same exact
thing. It was a Tony Pollard. He was behind Ezekiel Elliott. Nothing is wrong with having a rookie running back, in this case, an undrafted rookie running back, where most teams are almost like, all right, great, this could be, they kept an undrafted rookie running back. We're the ones that are obsessed over this guy, right? But maybe we're just doing this, and the Dolphins coaching staff is so excited on what they're going to have that they don't need to overly go all in for other people. They'll accept if it's at that price. But with the running back committee, let's call it 12. I tweeted it the other day. The exact numbers might be a little bit off, but Raheem Mostert, what was it, like 12 to 15 touches ideally. Jeff Wilson, he's not in there, so you take him out for now. You put in Chris Brooks, hopefully getting 6 or even 8 carries, 8 chainer touches, 3 to 5 touches. So you have to see what these guys can do in the aggregate to get 20 touches.
Correct. All right, guys. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show.
And throwing Ingold in there for 2 to 4 touches.
Hey, bro. Alec
I'm
Ingold, baby.
now,
I agree with that.
Can't give him top 4.
Lewis,
you're gonna get 2 touches.
Lewis, don't hate on me, bro.
Not top 4.
You were dead wrong, Steven.
I'm really not. Alec Ingold, top 4 in receptions.
This is a hell of a Dion of no.
And my boy River Craycraft, top 4 in touchdowns.
That's a little bit better. That's a molehill.
I'm telling you. Mark my words. And what was the third thing I said?
Third thing to say is you're going to give me your social security number if you're wrong on Ingold.
Right, yeah, for sure.
And your mother's maiden name and your first pet's name.
Hey, Lewis, did you survive the hurricane? Are you good?
I did. I did. Everything good over here.
I was worried about you.
Yeah, never lost power. Not like.
I mean,
that.
I wasn't worried about you, but I was.
Stop it. You're lying. You're lying.
I would never. I wasn't thinking about you at all. Let me stop.
You were. Listen, we're Florida boys down here, man. We're not scared of no hurricane.
About no hurricane.
Football as well. Didn't know you were in the path. I don't know.
He's in Tampa.
Yeah, I'm in the Tampa area.
Football as well this season. I know the hurricane season.
He's in like the worst part of Florida, Tampa.
We got the best baseball team in Florida. I can tell you that.
But you don't have the best baseball team, no, my boy. Hey,
our pitching has went down.
I'm so glad that you said that, man. Let me show y'all real quick.
Even I got 5 minutes and then I got a call.
I know. So I took my daughter to go see the Orioles. 2 days ago. So these are just some photos from the ballpark. We had a dope time. We sat right there at the batter's box of the White Sox. We had great seats. I've known this guy right here on the right, Jim, for like 15 years. He's the usher right there. And we got to, even after the game, got to meet some Orioles. And my daughter just loved every second of it. She was, it was pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying I didn't cry a little bit when she was like, "Dad, did you see that hit? Dad, did you see that home run?" I was like, I got myself a little baseball fan. I like it. I took her out of school.
Keep score yet? She keeping the score?
No, she's not keeping score, but I did take her out of school. Like I walked up and I said, "Hey, I'm taking my daughter out of school." And she came up and she's like, "What are you doing? Why are you here?" And I'm like, "You want to go to a baseball game?" Yes. I'm like, "Let's go."
Good dad day. Good dad stuff, Steve.
It was so awesome.
That is awesome.
That was great. All right, if you guys enjoyed today's show, donate to the channel, help the channel grow. No donations today. If everybody donated $1 right now, it would help the channel grow. Just donate $1, guys. Hit the like button. Only 66 likes. Great freaking show today. Spread Kindness Friday. All right, Spread Kindness. Lewis, give me your Spread Kindness Friday closing.
Man, 9 days. The Spread Kindness is 9 days away from Dolphin football. And listen, we get after each other. We go on whatever platform you go to. If it's a Facebook page, if it's YouTube, if it's Twitter or whatever. The reason we're always on those kind of sites, right, is because we're all fans of this team. Mm-hmm. So let's put all the bickering aside. Let's put all the vitriol that we have for this football team, right? Mm-hmm. Fellas, we're 9 days away. We are 9 days away from Dolphin football. So if you can't spread no positivity and love for your football team, then I don't know. You might as well find your local nearest bridge and jump off it. So
Cesar said, "What about MySpace?" Lewis,
listen, if you're still on MySpace, homie, I don't know. There's something wrong with you. All right.
Lewis is still on Black Planet. Stop.
Lewis, I've been waiting for your Friendster acceptance for months.
Friendster. Wow.
Oh man.
You really went there.
Every day I click on the modem and see if you've accepted.
Sarnie, give me your final thought, man. Spread Kindness, final thought. By the
Louis,
way, Noob gave us the first donation of the day, $5 donation, said Orioles stink, Rays stink, Marlins stink, fly the W.
Wait, so is this the same Noob that made?
This is Noob. Yep.
So he switched up his profile.
Yeah, he does it all the time. He changes
really
it once or twice a week.
This guy's good.
I know. Noob is the man. He's something.
Final thoughts. Final thoughts is that Alec Ingold will nuzzle right in the 7 or 8 spot of team leader in receptions comfortably. And I say that affectionately for you, my dude, Steven. I want everyone to have, listen, this is very important. I say this on weekends like this, where there's enjoyment going on. Do so responsibly. Call an Uber. Call a Lyft. If you're at a barbecue and you drink and you have keys, just don't drive. Give them to someone else. Do so responsibly. Have a fun weekend with your friends and family. Get ready for football. Draft your fantasy teams well. And I'll have a Dolphins Weekly newsletter out in the beginning of next week. I'm debating on whether it's going to be Monday morning on the Labor Day or Tuesday morning when everyone's back at work.
Tuesday.
Thank you. There it is. Stephen D just confirmed it. Tuesday morning.
Nobody's going to look at it.
No one's looking at it on Monday.
Everybody will look at it on Tuesday.
Exactly right. So
my final thought on Friday, Spread Kindness Friday, man, just love your loved ones by showing them love. My wife's birthday is tomorrow. Shout out to the Mrs. Daniels.
Happy birthday,
Mrs. Daniels.
If you guys want to donate to her birthday celebration, I'll give you the Cash App and PayPal because I'm taking her out tomorrow. So if you want to, there we go. I just dropped it in the link. If you want me to buy a couple drinks for her tomorrow because she's going to want a couple drinks tomorrow.
Not like you did on your birthday, though. We can't have that.
No, not like my birthday. Not that type of birthday celebration. We got Finn's ball, baby. Let's destroy the East. Shout out to Giovanni, man. I had fun with you and Dean today. Shout out to Dean as well. Yeah, man, spend it with your family. I just got a phone call from my lender. I'm officially approved.
Congratulations.
Excited.
Yeah.
It was the worst experience ever. I just want to say buying a house sucks.
Congratulations.
That was why I had to call. My lender was like, you need to call me
on a birthday for your wife.
After like getting her 50 million things. And so so that was what happened. And I should
that's awesome.
Everything's good. So I'm excited, man.
Love it.
Spending a lot of money in this moving and I don't like it. So yeah, every donation helps. Just
I'll tell you what, Steven. I 100% check your email after this show. First round on me for that and your wife. Happy birthday.
Oh, dude, you don't need to give me nothing. You contribute to this all the time.
Happening anyway. Happy birthday, Mrs. Daniels. Congratulations on being your home.
Hey, Steven, I just wanted to let it be known so people know that Monday, October 2nd is my birthday. I will not be here. My wife has surprised me last night. We are going to spend about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks in Las Vegas. My wife is taking me to Vegas. I leave.
When? September what?
September, I believe, 24th. I leave for Vegas, and I'll be returning Monday, my birthday, October 2nd. So
you won't be here the 25th and the 2nd. I'll need to find somebody for those 2 weeks.
What?
Louis,
I might do the show from Vegas on the 25th. I might do that.
I would love for you to do the show from Vegas on the 25th. That'd be dope.
Absolutely. Staying at the Tropicana and got a lot of nice things planned, man. So shout out.
So you have the Trop in Tampa and you have the Trop in Vegas.
I'm going to have the Trop in Vegas as well.
Noob says Vegas, meet me at the poker table.
So here's what I'm going to need you to do. Louis,
I already got you.
I'm going to need to put a little, put a 20 on number 13 for Marino. And when it hits, because it will, go to the spot in the desert, dig a hole for those chips. So when I go back for the Super Bowl, tell me where it is. I'll dig them up. I'll bring them back, and I'll go put money on the Dolphins for the Super Bowl. How's that?
I got you, Jason. We will definitely lock that in. I got
done
you.
and done.
Done deal.
It's all right, cool.
I'll be with Big E for the Super Bowl. I'm sharing a room with him in Vegas. I'm excited about it.
Already booked.
We've already got it mapped out. So we're going to be there for the Super Bowl. I love you guys. You guys are the best fans in the world. Enjoy your family this weekend. Have a safe and fun Labor Day. I love you guys. You guys are the best. That's Cap.
That's Cap. Peace.
Love you. Peace.
I know know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter collar. Whole squad been trained to go. Fence for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. Two a time,